Welcome to Passive Games for Life, where we help you. Man, you know what? Sometimes, man, it just rolls off the tongue, and sometimes it just doesn't. Here on
Yeah.
Passive Games for Life, we help you to understand the mindset, the skill sets, the tool sets in order for you to get the assets, thus getting you passive gains for life. This is the final episode in our mindset series. We're going to be moving on to our skill set series, where we're going to be diving into different types of skill sets, things that you need to acquire and what you need to master in order to move to the next level. We're even going to have a special guest who's going to come on, as a good friend of mine. And we're going to be, kind of just diving into the deep end of the pool on how to actually implement the things that you're going to want to do in order to succeed, whether it be online or in a brick and mortar business. It's just the philosophy behind it. So skill sets is going to be coming up next week, but we're going to be ending the mindset series on action. So we've dealt with planning. We've dealt with, removing friends that aren't helping. We've dealt with the mental toughness, right? So now we're getting to a point where we have to actually apply action to the things that we need to do. And applying action is the first step in actually realizing your dreams. And however you plan on doing that, and however that looks for you, you always have to apply action. So first and foremost, I want to apologize for last week's episodes. I was dog tired. Dave was dog tired. We looked like some zombies on here, Steve. Man, we was like, and planning. We're going to be planning on getting some sleep after we
plan on
I'm serious, bro. We was tired. Like, energy was low. I'm sitting over here on camera like, we didn't even have a video because turned out the video that I was asking you guys to take show notes on was the wrong video. It was the complete wrong video. The video that I had originally sent, somebody had made private. So I sent a very similar video right after that, talking about something else, and I ended up using that one, thinking that it was the video that we were supposed to use to actually do the planning episode. So my bad. The plan fell through. But
as it does.
It does. Yeah. Sometimes you set out to do things and it falls through. But to be honest, that is a great segue into what we're going into, because a part of doing action is failing. And that is the number one thing that causes people from even setting out to achieve whatever it is that they want to achieve, because they're afraid to fail. So I have a little book here. This is like one of my favorite books. Can you see this, Steve? That's called U Squared. I know you're on location there in the tool shed today on his phone. Steve is soundproof in his studio right about now. So this is called U Squared, right? This is a tome. It's more like a pamphlet, but 36 pages, 36 chapters, right? But the number one thing in here that I found that stood out to me, and I read this the most, was what chapter is this? Chapter 25. Seek failure. It says, seeking failure. Failure is a resource. It helps you find the edge of your capacities. So when I began this journey a few months ago of even trying to figure out how I was going to be on camera, how I was even going to promote a product, what was I going to do affiliate marketing or building a brand or something of that nature, that was the book that helped me get through a lot of things, because it caused me to think differently. Instead of just kind of focusing on, hey, this is what I want to do, it was like, hey, you know what? try not to work as hard. Matter of fact, there's a title in there that says do less. work, don't work harder. Work smarter, of course, right? So when I got to the seek failure, I'm like, seek failure? What do you wait? What? No, I don't want to fail. What if
I tell Alejandro that all the time. I tell him I want you to go out there and lose.
Yeah. And he's looking at you like, Papa, what?
Yeah, he's like, Dad, really? You know, like what type of bullshit is that?
And see, my little guy, he's like me in a way where he wouldn't even try. He'd be like, nah, I'm gonna mess up. I'm not even gonna do it. Just like, no, do it. And then when he fails, I go, see. He's like, I'm like, no, but it's okay. It's for you to mess up. It's it's okay. You'll be fine. You know, I don't like messing up, but failure.
Yeah, stop keeping score. Just mess up. Just have fun, you know?
Yeah.
Don't worry about it.
Trust me, we failed last week, man. Without you, Steve, man, we was like...
It was rough.
It was a dog video. It was rough. I mean, both of us was just like completely zero energy. But see, that's one of the most things that stop people from putting things into action is fear of failure. But on my way here to this point where we are now, you know, I came across this video from Impact Theory. It was called "The First Hour of the Morning is Crucial: Millionaire Habits for Success," and this is with Bedros. Hold on, I'm gonna say this right. Bedros Keuilian. Hey, go see why the dog is barking so much. Bedros Keuilian. Sorry about that. I hear the dog going off in the room. I'm like, what is going on in there? My wife might be torturing him with this little yak stick. She likes to chew on it. Well, my wife likes to pretend to chew on it. And the dog is like, hey, yeah, what? So he's like, yeah, exactly. Mine. All right, so let me refocus. Hold on. Reset. All right, so yeah, so I find this video by Impact Theory featuring Bedros Keuilian, and he's talking about failure. And one of the things he's talking about is proceeding forward with imperfect action. But failure is like how he was getting to this point, and he was talking about what is it? Failure is not the thing that we think it is. It's actually a temporary defeat, right? So failure is not being able to complete it at all. I mean, you just can't go on. You can't do. It's walled off. You can't achieve it. That's failure. Failure is when you just cannot touch it. You can't do it. But he says, if you look at it as a temporary defeat, it's no longer failure. It's just something that you just have to get past. You know, you move on past it. Yeah. So I'm gonna play this quick little clip. It's not gonna be very long, and he's talking about it. So it's kind of like midway in between, but it's very interesting. Maybe we can dig into some things from it here. Hold on, let me load it up.
It's not going to happen.
So is failure when you actually stop trying?
It's when you stop trying. It's a choice to stay down, right? And it's okay to stay down and gather your wits and then get back up, hence making it temporary defeat. The moment you choose to stay down because of not trying, you have given up. So let's just say giving up instead of failure. Failure shouldn't even exist. It's temporary defeat. So once I know that, then I'm like, well, there's no such thing as failure because I choose not to accept it or acknowledge it. Therefore, I will only see temporary defeats in life. And the more things that I attempt to do that are new, the higher the probability of having temporary defeats. However, each one of those defeats are a lesson that I could learn from and improve because the human mind and psyche and body are very adaptable. Playing ping pong against one of your guys here was different than playing against Lisa, your wife, who's a beast at it. And so I had to adopt. The body is so adaptable. So knowing that, If I learn something first thing in the morning, I want to be able to use it as soon as possible. I don't want to wait till it's perfect. I don't want to wait till we have the trademark or the copyright. Like I was the one out the gate launching Fit Body Bootcamp before it was trademarked, and my attorney was like, stop. I will always lean into imperfect action because I do know that the universe will collude with me, will conspire with me when I am leaning into imperfect action. I can always course correct as I go. See, people always, we're so black and white, bro. We are so black and white. And I was the king of black and white. Like, if I do this and if it doesn't work out, then I will fail. Well, fuck. With that mindset, and if that's the only outcome you choose to accept, that's scary. That it's either going to be a win or a fail. What if it's somewhere in the middle, that there's a temporary defeat and therefore you can back up the car and go down the next road, and then temporary defeat, back up the car again, go down the next road. So imperfect action tells me that the person, the universe will reward the person who acts the quickest. That's just how the universal collective consciousness works. If we know that to be true, then I will take an idea that I learned, I will launch it immediately, and I will course correct as I go, and the universe will reward me because of that. And again,
what do
it's
you mean
a
when you
belief.
say the universe? You're a man of faith, right?
I am a man of faith that there's a God, a higher power. The book that you gave me, my friend, The Power of Myth, Joseph Campbell, really talks about consciousness and our human animal. We are consciousness riding in this meat sack that's a human animal that has impulsively wants to eat and lean into comfort and convenience and greed. And, you know, if this was the only cup of water left and a few hours went by, one of us are going to want to attack it. That's what the human animal wants to do. Consciousness goes, I'm just going to look through these windows called the eyes. And I'm going to control my human animal. Most people are, their light, their inner radiance is so stifled. And the way I show it at the project, and we'll probably get into the project later, but imagine this light bulb.
Yeah, I'm gonna cut it right there because they go into another part. I should have cut it sooner, but I couldn't.
No,
remember.
it was interesting.
Yeah.
You know, it's very interesting. You know, I like where he's talking about, you know, controlling your inner animal, your innermost desires, you know, this and that. That's essential.
Yeah, it's very essential. Because controlling yourself allows you. Whoa, man, that brightened me up real good. Hold on. Yeah, hold on. Yeah. Can't have on too much light on my skin, man. I end up reflecting in here. Is he glowing? Have to keep the white balance down. But yeah, no, controlling yourself is key to doing a lot of things, man. Like that inner animal that pops up that is like, you know, wanting to do a thing. But let's back up a little bit. The failure portion. What how are you receiving that? How is that hitting you? About temporary defeat, not failure.
That's something that I think our generation grew up with, kind of like instinctually, you know, you know, how many times did you play, you know, basketball where you didn't keep score, you know, where you were just having fun with your friends and throwing the ball and nobody kept score,
exactly.
You know, and that was kind of like, maybe we didn't think about it at the time, you know, and maybe it's harder for kids nowadays because you're doing everything online. Everything is perfectly tabulated, whether it was, you know, you're playing a soccer game, you had an own goal or whatever, you know, you're always going to look up and see that score there, even if nobody is kind of paying attention to it, you know, so maybe it's a little harder to practice that nowadays. But, you know, I try and tell Alejandro that all the time, you know, and it's different because he's 6. So you have a hard time dealing with loss, you know, losing at 6. Everybody wants to be the best, you know?
Yeah, definitely.
But and truly, I don't think anybody really outgrows that, wanting to be the best. But you learn that, hey, you know what? Failures are part of life. And I tell him every time, I say, you know what? You lose 9 times out of 10, right? The lion goes out to hunt. He fails 9 times, and he will catch that 10th time is when he'll catch that wildebeest, and everybody eats for a week or whatever. You know, it's a rule of nature. You know, you have to fail.
Yeah, don't let National Geographic fool you. They are there only for that shot. They waited weeks to get that shot. It's not like the lion goes out every time and be like, dinner today. No, they could go months sometimes without catching a prey, you know.
everyone was that successful, then success wouldn't mean much
Well,
because we would all be doing it.
yeah, exactly. And it even goes like in sports, like the people who are the best failed the most because through failure, you understand what shots don't work. You understand what throws don't work, or especially if you're boxing. Hey, you know what? I think I should guard my face. I don't want to be knocked out. You know what I'm saying? So failure is definitely a very good teacher. And the fear of failure is what stops so many people because they're so afraid to fail. And I think imperfect action was the best description on how you should move forward in doing anything. Just, it's imperfect. Yeah, like when Dave and I set up the first night, bro, we had no idea. Like I told him, I was like, yeah, we're going to be filming tomorrow. I didn't even know how I was going to even get the computers connected. Like it took me 2 weeks to figure that out. But it was imperfect action. We was like, all right, this is what we're going to do. And this is how we're going to try to get it done. Let's go. And it was like, all right, we tried, we failed, but we're coming back. We weren't defeated. We failed to make the episode happen that night. But like you said, you could back it up and go down another avenue. You know, we'll figure it out. But the key is to actually just move forward to get what you want. Anything you want to add to that?
No,
or
not
do
really.
you have? Oh, okay,
I think you covered it. You know, you have to try, you have to fail. You know, like you know, even with new foods, you know, I get into it with Alejandro sometimes. Say, you know what, I don't know. How do you know if you don't like it unless you try it? And then if he tries it and then he says he doesn't like it, I lay off it. Say, okay, you know what, you tried it.
Yeah.
All right. So that's all I can ask. And,
yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Yeah, because I'm one of them type of people that keeps trying food. I know I don't look like it because I'm so physically fit, but but the one food that I always try, and it's like I always get burnt trying it, is liver, right? People be like, "Oh, liver is the best." I'm like, I've always hated liver. It's got the consistency of a turd, in my opinion. I mean, I've never tasted a turd, but turds do remind me of liver. It's just mushy brown stuff, you know. Can't eat it. And then I'm watching this thing, The Liver King. I don't know if you know who that guy is.
Gross. He's fucking gross, but he's on all types of gear too, man. You know, he's like all roided out and shit. It's fun. I like watching his stuff, dude. He's funny, dude. He cracks me up, you know, but it's fucking crazy.
See,
he likes to go barefoot. He wants to like your ions, your negative ions to pass through the dirt and through your feet and all this stuff. It's just like
he's weak. He's gross. Negative ions,
but I'm gonna fucking eat like just fucking ground beef, an egg, a bone. I don't know. It's just
yeah. Well, you know, it was funny because I had found out about him a few months ago, and I was listening to like his talk on another podcast, and he's like, you know, one of the things he always says is you become your baddest mammalian self. You know, it's like, all right, but and you know, when you listen to him, you know, you see, if you look at him, right? If you look at him, you see this big, gruff exterior, right? But then I noticed because he was talking, and I was like, this guy, and this is going to sound kind of strange, he has the kindest eyes I've ever seen. Like his eyes just means like, I don't think you could kill that cow or whatever it is that you're eating. I don't think you can kill that yourself. Like his eyes is just too kind. Like it's like he would have mercy on the cow. He was like, I will eat your liver, but I could not kill you.
I could not kill you. I will have my chefs kill him.
Yes, yeah, right. My chef shall butcher you, but I love you.
No, and then the family that poor family, they're held hostage by that fucking gorilla.
Oh, I don't think they held hostage. Wow, I think his family really loves him.
They're gonna run away. They're gonna run away in the middle of the night. I just mark my words, bro.
That's funny. And it's funny because this past week he was on PBD, Patrick Bay Davis podcast. And you know, they're based here in Fort Lauderdale, you know. So I'm like, oh, Liver King's in Fort Lauderdale. Great, you know. So I'm watching the episode.
Oh shit.
Your phone turned or something. Okay. Technical difficulties. Imperfect action. Let's get back to action because Steve had a temporary defeat. His phone battery was temporarily defeated out there in the shed. All I see is all I heard was an expletive, and then your phone turned sideways, and you're like, you're gone. So, son, shut up. So, moving forward, the next thing is one of the things I was taking notes on was this video here by Better Than Yesterday. It's called, oh no, his phone died again. Steve.
Hear me?
I think I can hear Steve.
Can you hear me?
I can hear you, but it sounds like you're in the place where Caroline was in
oh jeez.
What do you call that movie? Poltergeist. Did that big skull come and take you away?
Wait.
Ah, there he is. There he is.
All right.
You good? Or did you touch the button? All right. So, so I was taking a look at this video. It's called How to Actually Get Things Done, right? It was called Implementation Intentions. And this is from the channel Better Than Yesterday, right? It says most don't achieve actions because their intent hasn't been focused. So usually when you set out to do something, you have an intent behind it, but if you don't really plan out the intent, you really won't achieve it, right? So he gives some examples in here, and it's called implementation intention. And this is something that I accidentally did myself before I even saw this video. I was doing it, but I didn't understand what it was. But I was being very productive in getting things done. I just didn't understand how it was actually working until I saw this video. So I'm gonna play this quick little clip, and you give me your thoughts. You get this queued up here.
It's called Implementation Intentions. Back in 2002, the British Journal of Health Psychology published an interesting research paper. In this study, they took 248 participants and randomly assigned them into 3 different groups. The first group was the control group. They were only asked to track how often they exercised over the next 2 weeks. The second group was also told to track their exercise, but in addition they were given a motivational message along with pamphlets on heart health and why exercise is beneficial. That was the motivated group. The third group was given the same motivational message as the second group, but they were also told to do one thing differently, and that was to write down when, where, and how they were going to exercise. The results were quite insightful. In the first group, 38% of participants exercised at least once per week. In the second group, 35% of them exercised. It appears that the provided motivation basically had no effect on their actions. It was as if it washed off as soon as they left the research facility. But in the third group, the group that was asked to be specific about when, where, and how they were going to exercise, 91% of participants managed to work out over the 2-week period. What the third group did differently was they used implementation intentions. also known as if-then plan. Normally, when we have a goal, we think about it this way. I want to achieve X. For example, I want to exercise 3 times per week. The implementation intention is just a small adjustment to this. It transforms into, if situation Y happens, then I will do X. So for example, if it's 5 p.m. on a Monday, Wednesday, or Friday, then I'll drive to the gym and work out for 1 hour. The objective stays exactly the same. The goal is still to exercise 3 times per week, but notice how it got a lot more practical. And that's the basic idea behind implementation intentions.
So that's the basic idea. What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, it's interesting. I mean, it just seems like, yeah, you're just trying to plan it, I think, yeah, it makes sense because if you leave things in the air, you don't really kind of put it down into some kind of concrete, plan, then, yeah, you're not going to get anything done.
Yeah.
That makes sense. I never realized that they had like an experiment like that. It seems like it makes a big difference with a lot of people.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, bro, I've been learning about all these types of experiments that they have, things of, like people doing like, what do you call it? Like, mental experiments where
Right.
this is what kicked me off into learning more about mindset. This is why I wanted to develop the series around mindset at first. It was all going to be about mindset. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I just can't stick on mindset. But
Right.
well, here's something that I learned. There was a study that they did with people who played basketball. They were like, they took 3 groups. One, they said, hey, practice 2 hours a day for the next 3 months. One group, they said, do not practice at all for the next 3 months. Just take those next 3 months off. And then the third group was for 2 hours a day, I want you to mentally practice. Like, don't pick up a ball, don't do anything. Just go over the practice for 2 hours a day in your mind. And then they come back at the end of the 3 months. Of course, the guys that did not practice, they failed poorly. But the guys that actually practiced, of course, they were better. However, the guys that mentally practiced, never picked up a ball, just sat down for 2 hours and visually saw themselves throwing the ball, practicing, and all that kind of stuff. They did the same, if not better, than the people who practice.
Mhm.
That was all mine. And I was like, whoa, mindset is amazing, So,
Right.
yeah, it's like, wow. And then that kind of like opened up my eyes to like what we bring into our minds or what we feed ourselves mentally, how that can
Right.
either improve us or damage us. That's why I had to, like, even though I like agree with Dave a lot on certain things, I stopped watching the news. I stopped paying attention to a lot of this other stuff that was happening. Hey, get out of here. I stopped doing those kind of things because it's like it was dragging me down. Even though
Yeah.
things my viewpoints haven't changed, but the way I view the world, like I'm not as negatively, how you say, I'm not negatively set, right? When something happens, you get tons of negative actions going on every day that you get to view and take in. When
Right.
something does happen that is, for lack of a better term, not positive, you instantly fall in the negative category instead of just saying, well, how can I just work with the situation? Because,
Right.
you get stuck there because that's what you feed yourself all the time, and you got to be careful because the same thing will work if you feed yourself positive things all the time. Then now you got flowers in your hair, you're skipping down the street over dead bodies and you're like, hey, everything is fine,
He's fine. Right.
yeah, hippie land, and having that balance in between, you around here talking about the universe gives me all these kind of things. And it's like, you got to find an equilibrium for yourself. And for me, not feeding myself those negative things kept me in a space where I can just be in this nice zone where I can lean either way, but then at the same time have this flexibility. So the mind is powerful. The mind is incredibly powerful. And writing down your intentions and combining the act of writing and actually thinking it out. So my wife's a neuroscientist. So she explains a lot of this stuff to me. Like when I first got into the whole mental aspect, I was like, oh yeah, my wife's a psychiatrist. I mean, a psychotherapist, but she's also a neuroscientist. So when I go in here and I talk to her, I'm like, hey, what do you think about this? She was like, oh yeah, you're literally building neural pathways when you combine a mental action with a physical action. So sitting down and writing out your intention on paper literally builds the neural pathways in your mind. You literally build physical neural pathways in your mind to actually achieve the things you want to achieve. And then when you start studying it, learning things, then this other thing kicks in called the reticular activating system. That's that thing when you're going to buy a red car, and then all of a sudden you start seeing that same model car in that same color everywhere, even though you never even saw it before. That's that whole law of attraction thing happening. That's your reticular activating system kicking in and saying, hey, this is the thing you've been thinking about the most. So I'm going to make sure that you see it, so it's amazing. So with that and writing down, your intentions and actually implementing them, that is the call to action. So as we wrap up this episode here, because I know Steve's arms is getting tired, holding that phone and everything like that. He looks like he got paused there on that video. That's kind of creepy. Like he was paused like.
I'm just trying to keep it still. I'm trying to keep it perfectly still because then if not, it's like
action. Imperfect action, bro. Imperfect action. Imperfect action. That's what the episode is about. So what are your final thoughts on all of this, Steve? Like in relation to your own life and what we're trying to achieve here on this channel?
Well, I've known quite a few people who take that message of writing it down and they take it to like a manic place where they're writing positive affirmations on their mirrors, and stuff like that. And you know what? If it works for you, it works for you. It honestly that freaks me out.
It says it freaks me out.
But if it works for you, it works for you. As long as you're not, running into Walmart shooting people and whatnot. If that's not your positive affirmation, then yeah, that's good. It's go out and get it done. Go out and get it done. Like I tell the kids, you can stay where you're at. You can work that extra little bit harder, to assure your tomorrow, right? Essentially, because how hard you work to maintain today is not what's needed to advance tomorrow. You got to work harder, So I think whatever gets people to that mindset, man, it's definitely not easy. And if nobody's around telling you that, that whatever you're trying to do to maintaining is not enough.
No,
you got to do. Unfortunately, you got to do more. And thank God every day that we live in a country of opportunity, and we can go out there and get it, and be the best that we can. I remember a lot of friends in high school that, and for some reason it's with this whole stick to itiveness, that we've been talking about lately.
Sure.
Some people that really do.
He paused with a. Oh man! Wait, listen.
And they end up being, and they end up being very successful because they didn't let something like a stutter or something that was a hindrance in school where kids will easily make fun of you for it. They didn't let that define them in the adult world, and they were able to excel and build upon their success and take those failures that they learned in school and just say, F it, like, I'm not going to let that failure, I'm not going to let this one thing define me, and they move forward and keep going in life.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know if they did it with writing, affirmations to themselves. Like I said, if it works, it works. Clearly there's something behind it.
Oh yeah.
There's something behind it with those studies. I love studies.
Mm-hmm.
Something like that. It's not something personally I've done.
Mm-hmm.
But I definitely see. I think in some ways I kind of do that mentally.
Mm-hmm.
Like I know when I have to get serious about something,
Mm-hmm.
I know that I say, all right, enough effing around. And I break it down. You got to do this first. You got to do that next. You got to do that next. And I become like Superman. I just
Mm-hmm.
start knocking those things out. I start doing what I got to do, lining
Mm-hmm.
up those ducks, putting them in a row, and just blap, 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 blap,
Yeah.
knocking them out. It just.
Yeah, because I mean, some people can do it mentally, right? The
Right. And you
majority,
can't do it all the time either. I can't be like that every day.
yeah.
I'll be honest. I like that every day. A lot of days I'm kind of just learning and going through my things. And,
Mm-hmm.
I'm at this new job and I'm learning a new field.
Mm-hmm.
And I love that. I
Mm-hmm.
love that I've been lucky enough for 19 years to be in some form of design, construction, of
Mm-hmm.
engineering
Mm-hmm.
type role where I can learn something, get paid to learn,
Yeah.
and and make a career out of it,
Yeah.
and that's it's I feel blessed every day, to have that opportunity.
Amen. Yeah, no, bro. It going back to what you were saying about just saying, hey, all right, it's time to start screwing around. Let me just knock things out. For me, I've personally, like, I've never wrote down anything. It's always been up here, right? And then I never got anything done. I'd be like, yeah, I'm gonna do this tomorrow, and it's gonna be this, it's gonna be that. I wake up the next day and I'm like, what was I thinking about doing? It was something I was gonna do. Who cares? So when I started getting serious about, hey, you know what, these are the things I gotta do, here's that and the other, I started writing things down. This is why I've been kind of like really on that whole journaling aspect, speaking with Dave
Right.
and all that, and telling Dave, hey, dude, you and I need to journal. Like, maybe Steve doesn't need the journal, but you and I definitely need to journal, because like we were talking, he was like, yeah, man, we did like so many things and da 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 da. And I was like, yeah, this will probably be like episode number 3 with Steve. He's like, no, we did like more. I was like, no, we actually did 2 episodes. One, we had to film the skill set series that's not coming out next week. Well, not that particular episode, but that episode we had to pre-film it, right? And then we actually filmed the one episode with that we did for episode 3. And in episode 4, you weren't available. I said, so it's only
Right.
been 2. And he's like,
Right.
no, it's more. I said, Dave, I literally write every day down. Not the whole day, but I do the highlights. I'd be like, here's the highlight. I take up one line of highlights, and then I start going into my own thoughts, and then I try to finish up, like, what I plan to do moving forward, doing this particular implementation intention, and in doing so, it's kept me on task, because now, I could be like, hey guys, we're having a meeting. This is what we're going to be talking about, or here's the episodes that I want to do. Here's how I want to do it. Here's what I plan on focusing on. And in doing so, yeah, you can, if you take it too far, you can become manic, especially like some people can actually start writing manifestos. Now it can get kind of scary at times. And I was reading this book, Think and Grow Rich, right? And the guy, Napoleon Hill, he likes, and I'm kind of skipping around here. Patrick Bet-David kind of does something similar to this, where he has like a meeting with the people that he holds in high regard, right? He has like a painting. It's got Martin Luther King, Tupac, this other guy, this Senna, he's a race car driver, and some other influential people that influences him,
Yeah.
right? So
Yeah.
in the book, Think and Grow Rich, Napoleon Hill had influential people that he thought of, right? And he would have these mental meetings with these people where they would come in and they would talk, and this all occurred in his head, like here. He didn't write it down yet. He was just here, right? And he said it got scary to the point where he stopped it. he's like, I had to like stop it because it was scaring me, because their mannerisms and their actions and these conversations were becoming real where people would be talking over each other. He's like, I'm like, yeah.
It gets real.
Yeah, it get too real sometimes. But he said out of that, you know, he was able to dig into the mind of the individuals, because, you know, when this book was written, I think it was like early 30s. Or no. It was late 20th century, right? So this is before internet altogether, TV, stuff like that. Wow. The ghost was like, hey, it's time to get off.
Been left in the darkness.
the ghost in the house is like, all right, you know what, Steve, you're in my domain. It's getting dark up here. But
Is it enough?
But long story short, is the mind is powerful enough to see you through anything that you have to do, right? You can engage your mind and focus on anything that you want to focus on, but implying action to what it is that you need to do is the one that's wifey.
Yeah.
Hey, wifey, how you doing? Are those bull horns?
Yep. Got the horns, the reindeer horns.
What are those? The Hindu horns?
Oh my God! Can you see that? You can really see that.
I can see the horns. Yeah.
The antlers.
We'll try not to. I'll try to edit this part out. I don't know if I can, but
I thought I lost my wallet. Okay. Podcast.
Love you.
Well, you know what? With that, I'm gonna start. Let's go ahead and land this plane. Let's wrap this thing up. So, moving forward out of the Mindset series, we want to make sure that you, the viewer, and anybody else who is like really wanting to do something, especially in 2023 going forward, you know, we got a whole new year coming up. You know, this is around the time of year where people start making resolutions and not sticking to them or doing those things. But understanding that you can cultivate the right mindset to get yourself to where you want to be next year, there's no better time to start than now, right? We have, in this new economy, this information age, in this online world, things that are changing rapidly. Web3 is upon us, you know, cryptocurrencies. The way people get paid is going to change going forward, you know. Yeah, we've had some ups, we've had some downs, we've got some craziness going on all over the place, but your circumstances don't determine what your circumstances don't determine your future. It's the stuff inside of you. It's what's in here. So as we end the Mindset series, just remember to focus on what you want to do. Write it down, right? Create a plan for yourself. Get rid of the people in your life that aren't pushing you in that aspect, and bring in people who are. Cultivate a mindset, plan, know what you need to do, so that way you can conquer whatever it is that's in front of you, and you can have success, whatever that success looks like to you. That's what we're planning on doing this year. That's what I hope you plan on doing. And we're encouraging you every step of the way. If you have any comments, leave them in the comments below. If you want to get closer to us, I'm going to be starting a Facebook group here pretty soon. We're also going to be on a couple of other social media groups, because we're starting to branch out now where we can actually take our time and actually meet some of the people who are actually viewing this program. So we appreciate each and every one of you. We thank you, and we hope to see you next week. Take care. Deuces.